Γεια σας μαθητές. Hello students. It's been a while since I posted the third video in this series. This is the fourth out of 6. Remember, these videos are only to help you learn the letters of the Greek alphabet. We're learning them 4 at a time, and we are not learning them in order. And there are a couple of reasons for that. Before watching this, be sure you have watched the first 3 videos in this series and practice the letters featured in them. At the end of this video, assuming you've watched the other 3, you will have learned 16 of the 24 letters in the modern Greek alphabet. Okay, here we go. I hope you're ready. Enjoy. So let's start with 2 new letters. The first one is called Vita, which many Western people pronounce as beta. I'm not going to talk about why the pronunciation is different for some people, but in Greek, in modern Greek, this is Vita, and it sounds like a V, even though it looks like a B. The bottom letter, the one that looks like a U, is actually Ypsilon, and it sounds like a long E. So we have Va, Ve, Vi, Vi, Vo, Vi, Vo. And you'll notice the 3 pink letters, Eta, Iota, and Ypsilon. For what we're doing in modern Greek, these all have the same sound. And if we switch the letters around, we have Av, Ev, Eve, Eve, Ov, Eve, and Ov. So the Ypsilon is kind of an interesting letter. The capital letter looks like a Y, right? So the capital letter looks like a Y, the lowercase letter looks like a U. Interestingly, when the Romans came along and they got these letters, they borrowed these letters, they weren't really fond of writing the Y in this way, the capital Y, the Ypsilon, and they certainly didn't like the lowercase one, which didn't exist at the time anyway, because it was round at the bottom. So what they did was they broke off the bottom of the Ypsilon, and they made their U, which looks like a V, without a leg to stand on. And then when they had a long U sound, eventually they put 2 of them together and got a W. W. Now, this isn't just something interesting in English. Depending on the Spanish-speaking country that you're from, the W is sometimes called the doble U, which is literally a W. It's also called the doble V, the double V. So you can see here that from the Ypsilon, the uppercase and the lowercase Ypsilon, we get U, V, W, and Y, all 4 of those letters. And it may seem strange that the Ypsilon sounds like a long E, but happens in English all the time. Baby, happy, silly, sloppy, marry, plenty. We'll talk about pronunciation and the changes in another video. But it is interesting, just to go back to Spanish again, that Y in Spanish is called the Y, which means the Greek E. Now let's look at this interesting letter. This one is called a delta, delta. And it's that hard TH sound that we have in words like this and the and then. And we get syllables like the, the, tho, the, tho. And av, ev, eve, ov, eve, ol. And this letter, believe it or not, made a small appearance in English. That letter that you see up there is called the eth, and it was a letter which made the th sound. And if you don't already see it, the Greek delta eventually got straightened out and became the D, okay, which also looks like this eth here. And delta is a little confusing because people write it in different ways. There's the capital delta, which again may have started out as a triangle, which is where we get the word delta, like a river delta, but it got turned on its side often. And then when people started writing with brushes instead of chiseling, it got a rounded side and it became the D. And here's what a delta can look like. Sometimes it has that flat top. Sometimes it has almost like a curved snake top. Okay, and then we'll add the lambda. This is very simply an L. La, le, li, lo, li, lo. Al, el, il, ol, il, ol. And the capital lambda looks like an upside down V. And this one also, after a while, it got turned around and eventually became that. Do you see the rotation? Okay, so lambda should be a pretty easy letter. And now you can see the letters that we have across the top. The pink ones are all of our vowels. There you go, there are 7 of them. It doesn't matter that 3 of them make the E sound and 2 of them make the O sound. We can really make a lot of useful words now, like θέλω, I want, and lavi, oil, viβλio, book, which is where we get words like bibliography and Bible, molivi, tetradio, then θέλω, tiri, δώρο, where we get names like Dorothy and Theodore, and δέμα, which is a package or a bundle, anything that's tied. So here are some things that we can say with the letters that we know. Θέλω tiri. Θέλω μήλο. Θέλω βερίκοκο. Θέλω δαμάσκηνο. So θέλω, not too difficult, right? It just means I want. And in the last video, I told you that when a verb ends in omega, it means I am doing it. And for those of you out there who are very, very strict, yes, verikoko in newer spellings is spelled with a iota. I learned it as an epsilon, so you're going to learn it as an epsilon. Okay. Well, θέλω is I want, but if we want to be a little more polite, we can change it to θα ήθελα, which we can do with the letters that we know. So θα ήθελα tiri, I would like cheese. Θα ήθελα μήλο, I would like apple, or I would like an apple. Θα ήθελα βερίκοκο, I would like an apricot. And θα ήθελα δαμάσκηνο. So now you can take any noun that you know and just put θα ήθελα before it. You know how to say water, νερό. So I would like water. Θα ήθελα νερό. So here are the letters that we've added so far, along with their uppercase partners. And remember, the uppercase letters are actually much, much, much older, centuries older. The lowercase ones are a type of cursive that came later. And as I've mentioned before, we haven't been learning the alphabet in order, but I do want you to take a look at the letters that we've learned so far, lowercase on top, uppercase on the bottom, and think about one of the Western alphabets that we know. We have alpha, that's where A goes, B. D is normally the fourth letter, so there's your delta, epsilon, eta, theta, iota, and we said in a previous video that iota is the letter that's responsible for giving us a vowel and a consonant. The vowel that it gives us is I. The consonant that it gives us is J. And then we have kappa, there's your K, lambda, L, M, N, there's your omicron, your O, and the Rho is your R. An interesting note about Rho is that there were some Greeks who didn't write it this way. They wrote it that way. Interestingly, that's the one that survives. Taf, there's your T, and Ypsilon, which, remember we said gives us the U, the V, the W, and the Y. So that one letter had 4 children. Okay, so even though the Greek alphabet may look a little strange and we haven't seen some of the more exotic characters yet, you can see that the pattern is familiar and that the Western alphabets follow this pattern. Telos.